What exactly is it like on board a cruise that has resumed sailing with all the new rules and protocols? I'm going to show you how things look and work and what you can expect when you can cruise again. New protocols and procedures have changed the way cruises operate. So how does it really look and work in practice? I'm Gary Bembridge, and although I am still unable to cruise, a follower of the channel, Tomas Medek from the Czech Republic, has been able to and has given me incredible footage so I can show you what cruising is now like. Thomas and his wife Dominika, they cruised on MSC Grandisoa, which has been cruising out of Genoa with around about 60% of usual capacity, carrying guests from EU countries. I want to show you and discuss 9 key aspects of the new cruise experience that really stood out to me. First of all, embarkation. Travelers are allocated a very specific time to check in. Now, this is to enable physical distancing in the terminal and, importantly, time for a detailed screening, which includes a COVID-19 swab test that's conducted on everyone. This pre-embarkation test, by the way, is included in the fare. It takes around about 70 minutes to get your result. Now, if you test negative, your carry-on bags are disinfected and you then head on board. It can take up to an hour and a half to get on board with all of these new procedures. Secondly, on arrival in your cabin, there's a briefing pack. Now, this has detailed information about the safety protocols and rules. Also, there is a supply of masks. Now, masks have to be worn inside the ship when moving around and in other settings when social distancing is not possible. Now, masks can be removed when you're seated for dining or drinking, for example. Masks were worn by passengers in many settings across the ship, including many choosing to wear them moving around outside. Now, wearing of masks in all settings has become required in various countries or cities in Europe, and so it's not surprising to see this on the ship sailing out of Italy. It's much more of a norm. Masks were also worn by the crew at all times, and even the entertainers when performing in places where they were close to passengers, such as when the dancers were performing in the large MSC Grandisoa atrium walkway. The other item included in the safety pack is a wearable device. This helps to collect data on where passengers were on the ship. So if there is a COVID case on the ship, they then have data to do a smarter track and trace and don't necessarily have to quarantine the entire ship, as they can focus only on people that come into contact with that person. So that's quite a good plus. Now, this is a great incentive, of course, for guests to comply and carry them at all times, although it's not compulsory because I guess people are concerned about data. Now, a similar device is also being used by the Carnival Corporation Group's Costa Cruises, which have adapted the Princess Cruises medallion for their startup cruises in Europe to do the same thing. Now, their device replaces a cruise card and you can use it to pay for purchases, order drinks remotely, and even open cabin doors. There is one really positive change that has happened, and this is a totally new approach to the muster drill security briefing. Passengers aren't required to go to the muster station for the whole briefing. Everyone watches a safety briefing video on their cabin TV. It ends with a unique code, and then all guests have to do is call this code to a dedicated line via their cabin telephone to prove they've seen the whole video. After that, guests have around about 2 hours to go to their actual designated muster station. They scan their cards to prove they know where to go in the case of an emergency. So maybe one really great change to come out from all these COVID protocols is this new muster drill approach. I think it's much better. The fifth change I want to highlight is that every guest has their cruise card scanned and their temperature taken every day before lunch in the Lido and in the evening before dinner in the main restaurant. The thermometers, which are handheld, they're Bluetooth connected to tablets, and they appear to then be uploaded to everyone's profile on the ship so that I guess the ship can identify and act if something looks out of place or wrong. The next area to highlight is excursions. It's been very well publicized that you can only leave the ship in port on a cruise line excursion as part of the new protocols allowing cruises to resume. These are really strictly controlled with temperature checks before and after, wearing of masks, smaller group sizes, use of individual earpieces to listen to the guide commentary. That means you can keep distance from others, and you cannot leave the tour for any reason, including going into shops or bars, for example. Now, MSC Cruises threw one family off one of the early MSC Grandisoa cruises for leaving the tour for this reason, so really strictly enforced. MSC have reduced the cost of excursions, and you can buy packages for 3 excursions for about €100 to make these a bit more accessible. Though many cruisers of course want to wait until they can freely go into ports, this will not happen until countries are comfortable with that happening. Now, for now, cruisers like Thomas and others on these cruises are happy to have this limitation. I certainly am one of those, like Thomas and his wife. What about dining? The key area of change to discuss is the buffet. Now, the Lido buffet has survived on MSC cruises, and in fact other lines starting up too. However, there is no self-service, and food is behind clear screens and all is served by the crew. Now, this is something, of course, that was already in place on some lines even before the pandemic. But now there is absolutely no self-selection of items. To assist with distancing, there are tables and chairs that are marked not to be used in the buffet restaurant as well. So that ensures that people spread out. When it comes to social distancing, the lower capacity impact is clear to see, with fewer people around the ship generally, and in places like the pool deck, for example. You can really see it as you look around the ship. Now, around the ship there are of course loads of signs and rules to enable physical distancing. As already mentioned, tables and chairs are blocked in some venues. There are limits on how many people can attend the theatres at any one time. There's one-way systems exist, and around the pool the deck chairs are spaced out, and there are signs advising people they can't move them around. Of course, there are more cleansing procedures taking place both in the cabins but across the ship. Passengers will constantly see deep cleaning of pretty much everything, including deck chairs, equipment, and so on. So loads and loads of cleaning. Hopefully this insight and look at what is actually like on board a cruise with these new protocols has been interesting, and it's helped allay your fears about how things will be when cruising opens for you. Thanks again to Thomas for filming all of the experience and letting me share them with you. I have loads more cruise updates and tips videos, so why not watch another one right now.